Welcome to the first ever, the inaugural Move Marana Oro Valley Experience. I am joined with my co-founder and partner in crime, David Samorano. Good morning, David.
Good morning, everybody. Feels good. Mondays. It feels great.
Yeah.
I like the Mondays.
Yeah.
I do, because we were doing it, on Wednesdays?
Yeah.
A little while.
Yeah,
but now Bruce Ash is here, rocking and rolling, doing his thing. Yeah, it feels good to be here on Monday, man.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
And an awesome weekend in Oro Valley Marana this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Little rain. For full disclosure, we're shooting this video on June 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be 82 as a high with rain. I can't remember
last time.
Really?
No.
Yeah, the rain doesn't start in Arizona. If anyone's not familiar with the monsoons and you're listening from somewhere else, it starts about at the earliest mid-June.
Right.
But typically more 4th of July is when the rain, you can kind of expect a little rain. We got it June 1st, and a lot of it. And it was chilly last night.
Yeah.
I had to actually come in off the patio for me.
Really?
Yeah. It was getting kind of chilly about dark.
There's an impressive amount of rain. We went for a little drive, got the kids out of the house. We just drove through the rain.
Yeah.
We went and saw the what is it? Scenic Drive over here in Marana, where you get up right next to the mountain. Yeah. We went to that. We were going to go to the El Rio Preserve, where the little pond lake is, where a lot of people go look at birds, but there was some lightning.
What time of the day?
That was about 6:15, 6:20. Yeah, there was some
started
lightning.
again because it was kind of clear all day.
Yeah,
it started early, then it was kind of clear.
Yeah,
and then about 6 ish, it started again.
Yeah,
very rare. So
we were talking about it a lot at home. Like, this is usually we're hitting about 105 already, getting kind of toasted. Like, you're getting that primer for that real heat.
Because June is the hottest month of the year.
Always. Yeah.
June, not July, not August. Dog days, that's a little sweaty, a little
muggy,
tough, a little more muggy. And we had a great event here on Saturday night, the 31st of May.
It was awesome.
A lot of fun. Shout out to Ron Arenas and his team for just cooking up a bunch of dogs and brats. And
it was epic.
It was awesome.
It's epic.
Tammy brought some cookies and some baked beans and some mac and cheese.
There wasn't a spot available in this building, man.
Well, Chris, I heard him say on Wake Up this morning, 120. I'd say that was a good number.
Yeah.
Because we had seating for 96. There was always 10 to 15 people outside. And then there was some that came early and left early, and then some that came late and stayed late.
There was a line.
Yeah.
You get some snacks. There was a line.
20, 25 people, kind of like all night there was a line.
Yeah.
That was self-serve, so we didn't have to work too hard on that. But
Incredible
that
time.
was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Already planning the next one.
Oh,
yeah.
It's great. We got to do something really cool last week, too,
yes,
that we wanted to talk about for the first episode, and that was we got to go to see the MARC, thanks to Vice Mayor Roxanne Ziegler, Wayne Barnett, and what's his name? Brandon? Brandon Lau?
Yeah.
Brandon Lau. I'm bad with last names. I'm trying to give the last names, but it was a great time.
They're going to be on the show, actually. They're going to come and join us on the show. But that was pretty impressive. That was very impressive.
And I had talked to Roxanne. So Roxanne ended up coming on an episode of Local Marana, what this used to be. So if you're looking for the Local Marana podcast, this is all that's going to be popping up now. And all the Local Marana podcasts are housed on here. But Roxanne and I had a conversation after we had an episode where we were talking about the costs of the memberships of the MARC. And, at that time, we were comparing it to private market stuff, different things. And we went and saw this place. And I told Roxanne, and I said, hey, you know what? I was way off. This is incredible, this place.
Yeah.
It just was just eye-opening. The amount of people that were there, just smiling, happy faces. There was a line consistently to get into the place.
Yeah. And then the place was packed once you got in there.
Yeah.
There's some free stuff there, too. So you don't have to have a membership to actually enjoy the MARC. I mean, if you want to get into where the meat and potatoes are, the gym and the pools and stuff, obviously you got to have them. Well, you don't have to have a membership. You can do a day pass.
Right.
But you can get, there's some free stuff there too.
And they wanted us to share that the day pass is available online. So if you don't want to stand in line, you can actually pre-purchase your day pass online, walk in, and scan your code and go and have a good time. Save yourself some time.
Because the time frame we were there, it looked like there were 10 to 15 to 20 people at all times.
All times.
In line to get into place.
And they were doing the form.
Yeah.
And
for full disclosure, we were there on a Wednesday at 12:30.
Mm-hmm.
So just to kind of give you an idea what time of the week it was. But the place was packed.
Mm-hmm.
It was, the thing that impressed me was as cool as the pool is, and it's cool. Actually, there's 2 pools and cabanas and all kinds of stuff to utilize. The inside of the facility was incredible.
Yeah.
The weight room, the walking track, the basketball courts.
Yeah.
All the amenities they had inside for mothers and kids and families, locker rooms.
Yeah. Super cool. Shay has some photos. So there's one thing inside that I just loved, especially because recently we had Brian Wong on from BKW Farms, which is a historic, family and farm here in Marana. And there's this cool photo that we took of the timeline that's inside of the MARC. So as soon as you go in and you start walking east, there's this timeline. There it is. Thank you. Shay's going to pop it up on our screen here. Look at that cool setup you did, Shay. So this is the timeline here that's really cool, and it talks about the different developments within the town of Marana and historic things. I'm not gonna ruin it for folks that haven't seen it yet, but if you haven't seen it yet, you gotta go and check this piece out, because even myself, I was always wondering a lot. I grew up most of my life in Marana, but there's a lot of things I didn't know, didn't understand. And I recently was in the Impact Marana class through the Marana Chamber of Commerce, and there was a history and what do you call it? The Heritage Day that we had. And it's cool because a lot of the stuff we talked about within that class setting had to do with a lot of things that are on that wall. So if you're looking for some great insight about the families and how this town developed and how it started, that wall is an awesome piece of information. And that's just a short piece. Like it goes,
I was getting ready to say
it's twice or 3 times that, I believe.
That's just a small piece. I would just, on perspective, I'd say that's about a third of what the wall looks like, because that's got to be 50, 75 feet long, right?
Right.
Broke up with an entryway into a really large room where they do a lot of, it was more crafts and stuff.
Like a multi-use room, and then they have that hall you can rent. And then, so the other picture too that we sent was of, I got the basketball courts. So you were talking about the basketball courts. I meant to say not oof. But of the basketball courts, and Shay will throw that up here in a sec. I think there was a divider up, so we didn't see all the basketball courts, but I do know that some of us took the opportunity to go and shoot some hoops or miss some hoops.
Well, that was pretty rough.
Yeah. So that's look at that.
Yeah, there's actually 3 full-size courts if you set it up, for 3 courts. And you can see there were actually more kids, it seemed like, than that, but you can see there's 6, 8, 10 kids. There were a few waiting to get on. And part of that divider you're talking about was a divider they'd put up to kick the balls back in place so they weren't running out, bouncing out into the hallway there.
Right. And then the next one that was really cool. So when I was in Missouri for a brief time, the school I was going to had an indoor track.
Yeah.
And it was the coolest thing because no matter what weather situation was going on, unless it was a tornado, but you could go in and run.
Yeah, look at this.
Or walk.
Look at that
So
track.
this is on the second level. So what you guys were seeing was us shooting a photo of the basketball courts from this level. So this is the indoor track, and it wraps all the way around. I don't know the meters, and when Wayne or Brandon comes on, 1/10 of a mile, yeah. We'll have them talk about more of the engineering and stuff that went into this, and then also have them talk about more in regards to how they covered so much. So one thing we realized when we were there and we talked to them about is like, you guys thought about so much when it came to this, because there's a lot more to this place that we haven't covered yet. And we're going to give them the opportunity to cover a lot more of it. And the cool thing is they said they spent a lot of time visiting and going to and asking other municipalities, hey, if you could start over building this, what are some things you would add or remove or change? What are some ideas? What would you do? And it's cool because they were able to build this list of things that the other ones did not. or would like to restart and do over, right? And it's so cool to be able to take the time to be able to do that and then make it happen.
Right.
And then another thing that was really cool that Brandon brought up is they've paid off this thing, 1/3 of this already. That's incredible.
Yeah, it is. While that picture's still up there, I do want to make reference I don't know what the material is, but the material on that track is it's kind of like shock absorbent. So if you're walking or running on that track, it's not like running on asphalt or concrete.
Mm-hmm.
It's of a track material that when I walked on it, it felt you felt like you weren't going to be beating up your ankles or your knees when you were running on it.
Right.
So it was, I don't mean to say it's a sponge, but it felt, I don't know what material it is, and I'm sure Wayne and Brandon can talk to that. One other thing you mentioned about the way they had thought this through was at the pool area, there, as soon as you come in the main door, there's a mother's room for nursing mothers or changing babies, and it also then accommodates disabled adults that would need special attention.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that he said the table held 400 pounds. So it was like a changing table or something that would accommodate adults as well as small children.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't get to see in it because someone was utilizing that room. But right immediately as you come out of the pool area, this room was available to mothers or someone that needed special attention, which is very cool.
Yeah. And hey, Shay, can you throw up a photo of the whole team and Roxanne and Wayne and Brandon, just to show them thanks for taking time. It was during the week. These folks are all really busy, right? Along with all of us, but they took time to walk us through at a pretty slow and informative pace. That really covered so much.
Rushed, no.
Yeah, it felt really cool. It was a great time, and they hit on a lot of things. And then afterwards, you just couldn't help but go, "Hey, can you guys come on a show and talk about it a little more?" Because there's so much more that went into it that we can't cover, we don't know about, nor would we try to cover.
The only person I can't see because she's taking the picture there is
it's all right. I got another one. Shay,
my
you want
bride, Tammy.
Throw the one with Tammy on there. Don't worry, I got you.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, I just want to give her a shout out because she was there taking the tour with us. Yeah, it didn't feel rushed. It didn't feel like they were like we were imposing. They were excited to talk about it.
Yeah. It's funny. This morning I'm uploading photos into Slack and stuff, and I'm like, it's Chris and I in the Slack this morning just uploading things for shows. It's really cool. So there's the team right there.
Yeah, that was very cool. That was exciting. I was shocked by and I'll use the word shocked on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
How well thought out the thing seemed to be. More than just a pool and we're going to have a track. It seemed like there was a flow to everything that they were showing us. And so kudos to the only, you know where I'm going with this. Ed did not get to see this happen, and that's a big. And we mentioned and talked about that because every time Ed and I drove by that, which we did all the time, because if you know where it's at, it's right by town hall, and Ed and I seem to be going to town hall like 2-3 times a week. Mm-hmm. And we'd drive by that, and he'd tell me all that was going to happen in there, and the kids could come after school, and people could walk on the track. So that was a bittersweet moment for that. He would be very, very proud if he could see what was going on. But kudos to Mayor John Post, who'll be guest of Chris's tomorrow on Wake Up.
Right.
Vice Mayor Ziegler, and then the council for making this happen. And Terry Rosema.
Yeah.
Town manager
all
putting
the
this
Parks
all
and
together.
Rec folks.
There's
a whole bunch. You hear the whole back. Wayne and Brandon, whoever will come.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of people, and then the construction crew, and they did a great job. I mean, it is what was it? Roxanne was telling us that someone from the southwest. This is like the jewel of, and it's got to be.
Yeah,
because I haven't seen anything like this from a municipal standpoint.
Yeah, well, they spoke about how there's a lot of non-residents that are buying memberships as well. and that it's 115,000 square feet.
Yeah. Inside and out.
Inside
and out. 115,000 feet of recreation.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job, Marana.
Good job.
Hey, I want to talk about something else in Oro Valley, since we're the Marana Oro Valley Experience. Wednesday night at the town council meeting, which they will be hopefully ratifying the contract between the Oro Valley Police Department and town of Oro Valley. I hope that's happening. I think we're pretty close. People that I've talked to, even as recent as yesterday, feel like this is going to happen. So that's a good thing. Mary Murphy, Councilwoman Mary Murphy, a friend of the show's, and Mayor Winfield are bringing forth I don't have the exact, it's a tourism board, if you will, for the town of Oro Valley. They're going to have 5 seats available for people that are in the hospitality industry. We've heard a few names bantered around that might be a part of that, be asked to be a part of that. And I think it's really, me personally, being a resident of Oro Valley, I think I'm very much in favor of this. So I would suggest, if you are a member of the town of Oro, or a resident of Oro Valley, see, mine's all locked in. As Ed used to say, I live in Marana, I sleep in Oro Valley. There's a lot of truth to that.
Oh, it's Monday. I'll give you some grace.
But Oro Valley, this is, I think, a big move, and Move is excited about this. The Marana Oro Valley Experience that you and I are a part of. We're very excited about this because the area of Oro Valley and Marana, if you're familiar with it all, you know what we're talking about. If you're not familiar, this is a unique spot on the planet. There's a lot of stuff going on here. The growth, especially population-wise, in Marana is incredible. But sleeping in Oro Valley, I can tell you there's a lot going on there, especially from a tourism standpoint. Mm-hmm. The golf clubs and all the trails and hiking that takes place there. And so to have and then a lot of resorts, Westward Look being a client of ours that we're partnering with to do Move. This is exciting times in Oro Valley. I'd love to see this get they're going to place it on the ballot. I'd love to see a unanimous decision on this on Wednesday night. I don't know what they're calling it, but it's a tourism committee that they're putting together. So shout out to Councilwoman Murphy and Mayor Winfield for seconding that to get that on the agenda. So I would encourage, again, fill the room. We've done a pretty good job here recently with the Oro Valley Church of the Nazarene and then the police department in their negotiations of filling not only the room, but all the overflow. And so I'd love to see that happen again on Wednesday. The council is in executive session at 5, and the public meeting is at 6. Grab a blue card if you've got something to say about either the police department or the tourism. Mm-hmm. And then again, to kind of double down on that, Amanda Wiggins and Kristen Sharp will be on Wake Up with Christopher on Wednesday. Yep. I believe it is. Again, these two young ladies run dynamic chambers in both of these communities, and it's great to see them together, collaborating. This is huge. And the more we can do with Oro Valley and Marana working together, it's going to benefit the whole community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you're ever wondering what Clint does when he's not around here, he's going and being civically involved, but you're just in it, right? Yeah. You're serving people.
Yeah.
In different capacities.
I don't know if I'm serving them, but I'm in it.
Yeah, you get a lot of phone calls, and it's something that you're blessed to get to do. Yeah. I think we're blessed to get to be part of a lot of things.
Blessed beyond measure.
Yeah, so we're having fun. The Marana and Oro Valley experience is something that we're going to continue to build on and get people to come here and hang out and see all the awesome stuff this place has to offer. And we know there's a lot of great things coming to Marana. And, I encourage listeners and viewers to go watch Chris's show tomorrow. And I'm sure that's conversation that's going to come up during Wake Up. And just be in the know. I mean, it's really easy to just be in the know. You talk about all these folks showing up at the town hall meetings and stuff like that. People should be going to those pretty often, and that's where a lot of people have lost sight on things. People wait until something happens before they get involved.
Well, they moan and groan about the way things are, and taxes are going up, and this, that, and the other. And I get it. You're raising kids and you're busy, but you should definitely be. If you live in Marana, it's on Tuesdays, every other Tuesday. If you live in Oro Valley, it's every other Wednesday. Mm-hmm. First and third, I believe, are the on both of them. And if you can't get there, you can always watch both of them live,
right,
on your computer, your phone, whatever. And I encourage you to do it. David and I, as we started Move, again, Marana Oro Valley Experience, that was one of the things that we really was trying to encourage people to do, was get involved in your community, get involved in the campaigns that are going to be. Here we go again. They're coming back. Mm-hmm. A year from now, we'll be heavy into campaign season.
Yes, sir.
If you want to complain about things, I would suggest that you get involved in your community. That gives you the right to complain about things. If you're not involved in your community, showing up at a town council meeting, showing up at a PTO meeting, if you're not doing those things, honestly, can I just be blunt?
Go on Facebook. No, I'm just kidding.
Just set it out then. You haven't earned the right to do it. But if you're involved, and I say that because the percentages of people voting, especially in the off season, the non-general election, the midterms, is pretty dismal. Even
less than 20% or something.
Even in Oro Valley and Marana. So get involved. Start going to your town council meetings. Mm-hmm. Getting to know these people. You mentioned earlier what I do, and I do a lot. Tammy and I are blessed to be able to do a lot of those things. Mm-hmm. I encourage you. You know what? If you're involved in them, then you're at least a part of the process.
Right.
You get to know people. You get to talk to people. I don't know how much influence there is in that, but you do. I know there's some influence because I see it coming back off when we're done. I'll share something that happened over the weekend, but it's just not that hard to show up, and it's not that hard to get a blue card and speak out. It may be out of your comfort zone, but do it. Or write. You all these people that are elected officials, their emails and phone numbers are available to the public. Send them a note. When we were dealing with the Oro Valley Church of the Nazarene in Oro Valley, I know there were hundreds of people expressing their opinions regarding that to the council because they shared with me. We got hundreds. Mm-hmm. And they were, and you know what? Be respectful. I don't need to be talking to adults about this, but be respectful. And they said, most of them were respectful. You're always going to get that clown that shows up and just not respectful, but be respectful of time and get involved in your communities. Because is it fair to say, David, that Marana and Oro Valley, Marana are two of the most, I can say this because I've been all over. They're two of the most unique communities I've ever been a part of. And it's not even close.
Yeah.
There's a lot of happening. There's growth.
Yeah. There's
people tend to be working together. There's sanity.
for just to put that out there. There's a different way of doing things up here. I think people respect that and they like that. You could talk to if we brought in any police chief on this show, which we will. And I've talked to both of them recently. They're coming again. You call a cop, you get a cop.
Yeah.
How hard is that? Right? It's a simple going back to basics, fundamental things. There's a lot of that out here, and even as the town grows, they're both really good at keeping that small town feel with how you treat it and how services are performed. It's just a different animal. Yeah.
Well, we had the party the other night, and I won't name names, but just I'm not going to drop names at this time. Lord knows I've been known to, but
yeah, we usually hit the air horn, Shay. So if he drops a name, I'm not
gonna drop a name.
Props to Shay for running the show today,
and always doing a great job as usual. You know why you don't hear us say much about Shay is because, like a good umpire or referee, she does such a great job
Yeah.
just never know she's back there.
One note about Shay is Shay and us are looking for a supporting audio visual engineer.
Yeah.
So if you or anybody you know is interested in doing this stuff, you send them our way, right? You don't need a college degree. We just have some media experience.
Yeah.
To go to
We
camera,
need you with a little bit of
experience. But you don't worry. The college degree stuff. Don't get all bent out of shape on that. You know what I mean? There's a lot of talent outside of that. So
can you show up on time?
You show up on time.
Can you be a team player?
Be a team player.
And you know how to push a button every now and then.
There you go.
I'm not
Use
saying
your ears.
I'm not saying that that's all Shay does. There's way more to it. Than that.
It's way
she's
more.
made it. She makes it look easy. And if you have a desire more than anything else or an aptitude to do it,
let's bring Shay on here. Let's talk to
where
Shay.
you at, Shay?
Shay, where you at? He's like, no, you guys. I wasn't ready to.
She's working. Guess name.
So what's interesting? So Shay, this whole setup you see here on the show, if you're watching, if you're just listening on the app, you're not gonna be able to see it. But if you're watching on the show, everything you see here, all the aesthetic and all that stuff was pieced together. There she is. She's coming. She's not in the program yet. There she is. Hey Shay, did you know how to do any of this stuff when you started?
No.
How'd you learn?
Just on the job.
On the job training. Look at that. And look at her now.
And you know what? Not only on the job, but live on the job.
Yeah. How'd you feel about the training?
It was good.
Go easy.
It was a process. It was definitely comfortable over time.
So, yeah. How long did it take for you to get kind of settled in, you think?
Maybe like a couple weeks.
Couple weeks, see? So if you're looking to apply, go to our join our team page on our website. But a couple weeks, Shay, I'm gonna be clear. I'm gonna clarify though. Shay's a beast.
Yeah,
and she learns fast. She's studying computer science, so she knows her way around computers and whatnot. But still, no experience in it at all.
Yeah,
came in here, locked in.
And you know what? She's being modest when she says a couple of weeks. Maybe it was a couple of weeks for her when she maybe felt comfortable.
Yeah.
But she kind of got this within a couple of days as opposed to a couple of weeks because we threw her in the fire.
Yeah,
I mean, that's kind of how we do it. You want to learn to swim here?
Yeah.
We're going to throw you in the deep end. Yeah. We won't let you drown, by the way. We're there to pull you out. But she's really being modest. Maybe that's when she felt comfortable, but she really caught on to this really, really, really fast. And we're just so proud of what all she's learned in the last 3-4 months here.
Yeah.
Because we had no idea she had this skill.
Yes. Way to go, Shay.
Yeah. Thank you so much. We've thrown a lot on her shoulders.
Yeah.
And we're throwing more every day, right, Shay?
Yep.
She's like, I came in today and things changed pretty quick. So
yeah. And as a matter of fact, she's going to be here all day today. We got a lot of projects. We're part of another thing that we're constantly implementing new projects. So we're part of your Digital Revival Network. Mm-hmm. She's going to be working with Pastor Sally today. Sally G, keeping it real. She's going to be doing some editing and work with him. Then we got, we're lucky to have you, Shay.
Thanks. I'm lucky to be here.
Yeah. So, and I've asked her numerous times, can I just count on you for the next 40 years? And I think she said most of the time she said yes. So that's cool.
Yeah. Thanks, Shay.
Yeah. She's part of the family. And then she's a triple threat because she helps Tammy in the bakery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She knows how to make them.
And you
cookies.
know what? I'm gonna be gone a couple of days, and she's gonna come take care of my dogs. So
all right,
Tammy and I are gonna
go
see the grandbaby. Hey, one thing real quick, couple of things. Cubs have been on a hot streak.
Easy.
I'm wearing my W shirt for the first time, and then you can't see this, but this is a Marana hat given to us by a listener and follower and fan the other night. That is a Marana hat. So. I thought I'd sport it on this new Marana Oro Valley Experience, our inaugural show. So thank you, Alan, for the lid. We appreciate it.
I do know that the Diamondbacks are on a losing streak, right?
Yeah, they're not.
What's going on? They were.
I got a buddy that, you ever heard of Rick Peralt? I'll throw him
the
out
ghost.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
He thinks Tori Lavelle is on the hot seat, and both the owner and the general manager have reassured that he's in good shape, which is never a good sign. That if you're struggling, if the owner and the general manager say you're in good shape, it's usually kind of the kiss of death. So we'll see.
Oh, really?
Especially when you've been there a while.
Yeah.
You're in your first season, maybe, but he's been there a while now. I think he's the longest tenured, if I'm not mistaken, longest tenured Diamondback manager in the history of the club.
Yeah. Hey, something interesting happened. We're going to talk baseball on this last one because, at some point, baseball is going to be here.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to be here in Marana and Oro Valley. There's going to be stuff going on.
Well, we hope so.
There's going to be all kinds of different sports going on. But I saw a video, I believe, was it Tampa Bay? Can't remember. But I'm not saying the ump made a bad call, but, according to the strike zone and where the ball landed, it was a little bottom left. And the baseball player, the hitter, didn't agree with the call. And when he went back to the plate, he went like this, double tap. And they ejected him.
You know what the double tap's for?
What is that?
RoboCop. That is the robo umpire. So in the minor leagues right now, if you don't agree with the call as a hitter, or a catcher, if you thought it was a strike and it wasn't, you can do this, double tap your helmet.
What does that mean?
It means we're going to go to the robo umpire review.
Oh. But in the major leagues, you can't.
But in major leagues, we're not using it yet. That union is really strong, by the way.
Well, they ejected him.
Yeah, they did. Because that might as well be giving him the middle finger.
How do you feel about that? I am not a big I watch baseball, but I'm not like a huge fan. But for me, I'm like,
I am such a traditionalist,
you can't just chill,
and yet I want to get it right. The umpires are really, they've got a tough job. That's first and foremost. They've got a really tough job.
So if we keep the guy in the game,
but
happens?
Stuff like that shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen.
The ejection?
Yeah, no. The umpires, a lot of them have made the game about them, and it's not. What I mentioned a while ago about Shay, she's doing a great job because you just don't notice she's doing what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Great producers, great people that are great at anything they do.
Yeah.
Don't make it about them. They make it about us.
Yeah.
I just want to get it right. And if we've got the technology to get it right, and all they would have to do, David, and they do it now, they have the instant replay on, you can challenge calls and stuff, is you wouldn't even know it was happening. But you can see instantly if a ball crossed a particular plane, and the technology is there.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, we're not talking about are they getting it right. They're getting it right 99.9% of the time. That's good, by the way, right?
Mm-hmm.
We want it right. Give the umpire a little tap. If you don't give him anything, then let's just say it. We'll for the sake of argument, if I give you nothing, that means it's a strike. Call a strike, and you can feel a buzzer, something in your headgear, because they're doing all this stuff now with catchers and pitchers and headgear and stuff. And if I give you one beep, that's a ball. And then make your call accordingly on the field. Nobody even know you were doing it.
Yeah.
Just get it right. And so if we can get it right, then we should get it right. And I'll give one example, and I'm a legit long-term baseball fan from a kid. And his name was Galarraga, and I can't remember his first name, but he was a pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. Jim Joyce was the umpire at first base, if I remember correctly. Jim Joyce got a great big, like walrus mustache. I think he's still in the big leagues. And Andrea Gonzalez, not to be confused with the hitter from Colorado, that was Andrea Gonzalez, is pitching a perfect game. Regular season, but still a perfect game. And the last play of the game, a little dribbler to first, flip it to the pitcher covering the bag. Joyce misses the call and calls him safe. He's safe. He's out by a mile. I don't know how Joyce missed that call. Anybody that was, and I was watching, they break in, and I'm like, well, he's out. But there was no instant replay at that time to fix it. I mean, there were tears the next day at home plate when they were exchanging lineup cards. Joyce felt really bad about it. Really bad about it, to the point of a grown man crying on a field. You know, and you know what? In retrospect, if I'm the commissioner of baseball, I fix that. I mean, I just fix it. I'm like, that was an out. We're going to give this as a. I mean, it probably loses its luster then, because we all know that, you know, he pitched a perfect game, except he didn't. So maybe it's more. There's more value in the game that in the memory of it. But to answer your question, that's a long way around it. But I'd get it right first. But the umpires, there's a lot of them. The egos are really, really big, and I get it and I don't get it. You know, do your job, get paid big bucks, and try to remain as anonymous as you can in calling a game, because it's not about you. And you see it at every level, but in the big leagues with all the technology that's available. But the tap of the hat was basically, you know, he was flipping him off.
Yeah,
because that's going to RoboCop. Robo umpire in this case.
Yeah.
Rick Peralt. Yeah, I've already mentioned Rick Peralt to you.
Yeah.
He wants it at an amateur level for sure. He wants to get it right, you know, especially calling balls and strikes. I'll be the first one to buy it, Clint, when that happens. Hey, and another baseball reference, the Wildcats on a roll, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't hitting, and now all of a sudden they're hitting.
Yeah.
They've, of course, scored 28 runs in the last 2 games.
I saw another team put 20 runs on in one game.
But they're moving on to the Super Regional.
Okay.
And my buddy Rick Peralt just texted me a few minutes ago and goes, we need North Carolina to lose, because if they do, the odds are really good that the U of A will host the Super Regional, and we'd like to go to a game. So I don't know who the University of North Carolina is playing, but I'm rooting for the opposition right now.
Yeah. Great. That's great to hear.
Yeah. They're playing well. My buddy Chip Hale.
We could use
I'm dropping a name right there.
Yeah, we could.
I've known Chip for a long time, 20 plus years.
Season.
What a good human being. And what a great human being he is. If I owned a Major League Baseball club, he'd be my first and only call. I'd just call Chip up and say, Chip, what do I need to do? And here's some money, make it happen.
Well, Clint,
we're winding it down, aren't we?
Winding it down. Got some video shoots going on, and some other
it's
project
good stuff. Haircuts and we got a busy afternoon around here.
I stopped doing those a couple years ago.
It's just now 10 o'clock.
It's
just a little bit before 10, but we got a full day left in front of us. So, but we couldn't wait, especially knowing what we're trying to accomplish here would move. And then once we went to Wednesday, we went to see the MARC. We were like, let's go. I couldn't wait to get in here and talk about it.
Yeah.
Next week, we're going to have Councilwoman Mary Murphy on, hopefully
Wonderful.
Talking about the new tourism board that they're putting together in Oro Valley. Hopefully she'll be discussing that with us. And we've got a lot of other people scheduled coming up. Mayor Post, the ladies from the chambers, and Vice Mayor Roxanne Ziegler, Mayor of Oro Valley Joe Winfield, and then a whole list. Both chiefs of police, Riley and Bridget, fire captains, civic leaders, a whole bunch of people. So
Wonderful.
as the summer plays out, we're looking forward to having a lot of these people in the studio talk about what we call home.
What we call home and things to do.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, Clint, thanks for being the captain of the ship today.
Yeah. And as we say around here, this is Marana. We catch ourselves saying that all the time.
Yeah, this is Marana. Yep.
And we also say this is Oro Valley.
Yeah. All right. Well, everybody, you ready to rock out? All right, guys. Have a good rest of your week. We'll see you soon.
Thank you,
for
Shay.
tuning in.